Child, y'all better stop being out here talking about love don't cost a thing and that marriage is just a piece of paper, a $1.7 million piece of paper, because in North Carolina they have this law called alienation of affection. I mean, I don't know, maybe y'all didn't learn from Tasia. However, Akira Montague sued TikTok influencer Brenay Montague of using her influence as a weapon to both seduce and ultimately have an affair with Akira's husband. Now, Brenay Montague, who is now married to Tim Montague, formerly Akira's husband, stated that, you know, she knew about the affair or whatever, and I guess consented to it because she was like, her marriage was over. Y'all stop letting these men tell y'all this bullshit. It's over when that divorce decree. It's over when the judge tell them that it's over. Don't be out here listening to these little men, because now, like, what if he decides to walk away from this Brenay child? What's she gonna do? She's stuck on the hook for $1.7 million. Now here's the thing. They said they had over 700 pieces of evidence, both text messages and, of course, TikToks that Brenay had made. Now, Akira is stating that, or she stated in this lawsuit that it affected her health and deprived her children of a two-parent family home. Now, here's the thing. Let's not act like, you know, for some people, breakups are really something that affect their health. They absolutely do. And here, this is a very, very hard law to prove. However, 700 pieces of evidence, and then you out here talking about, oh, well, she consented to it because she knew that her marriage was over. Girl,
marriage was over with and it was done.
But the jury didn't agree, awarding Akira Montague the $1.75 million after more than 700 pieces of evidence were presented in court, including some of Brenay's own TikToks and texts.
That says that my client was telling the truth.
Miss Girl. And then you showed up and did this pro se. I mean, I have no problems with anybody who, feels like they can go and represent themselves because, of course, our laws, allow for it. But something this serious, something with such a heavy ask on the end of it, girl, I would have went and snatched Johnny Cochran out the ground or something. Because ain't no way in hell. But here's the other thing. As, she was walking out of the courtroom, and of course, the media was out there and they were asking questions and whatnot, and she had more to say.
Marriage was over with and it was done.
But the jury didn't agree, awarding Akira Montague the $1.75 million after more than 700 pieces of evidence were presented in court, including some of Brenay's own TikToks and texts.
That says that my client was telling the truth.
The case hinged on two rarely used laws, including alienation of.
Again, this is where an attorney comes in and says, my client has nothing to say. Or, baby, you should have just been like, no comment right now. I need a minute to process. Everybody would have understood that. But she goes into saying that she'll never see it. She was like, she'll probably never see it. Aren't you tired of being in them people's courtroom? Because, baby, you could know. I'd be like, no comment. I'm stressed. Something, fall out. Something. No. Now that lady gonna probably go back sue you again for her money. Now, I don't know if you're not tired of seeing the people courtroom, but baby, let me explain something to you. The fact that you just put this on camera, but you should have been like, no comment. This is where an attorney could have, really helped and let my client has nothing to say right now. She has a lot to process and walked on up out of there. Or you could have even said, hey, I'm under a lot of stress right now. Please just, I have no comment. But you stood 10 toes on it. So now it's just like, yeah, that lady could absolutely drag your ass right on back into court and be like, where's my money? And it, reminds me of an interview that I saw some years ago, whatever, with Kardashians, and they were talking about how, some people will utilize their influence or whatever illegally or whatever, and how they go after them legally. Now, one thing that stood out to me was the fact that when they were talking about people who get those judgments rendered against them, how do they pay for them? And Chris quickly chimed in and was like, oh, we take payments. Please understand something. Yes, this was a hefty price tag that is attached to this. However, they can absolutely come and take payments, which means they can absolutely go after this lady's, property, her assets, her bank accounts, all these things. Like, please don't ever get up here and think that, these alienation of affection cases are not real cases. You can absolutely lose a bag Child, and again, she better hope that little man stay with her, cause this right here was an ordeal, okay? And for y'all don't get in my comments and be like, well, nothing. He should have kept himself together until he went ahead and got that divorce, and she should have waited till he was finally divorced. Because again, marriage ain't just a piece of paper, but it can be 1.7 million of them.
Like and subscribe to Mom's channel.